Okay, I am back again. This is take number 3. Thank you guys for being patient with the technology. So, this is an exciting day. I am waiting for Halita to come and join us on this live, and we're going to be doing some live coaching together. So, I am adding Halita right, and I appreciate everyone's patience. Ah, we got it. I found
Hey
you
guys.
this time.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was all about, but
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you too. Okay, wonderful. So, first of all, can you please introduce yourself? Because I want to make sure, obviously, my audience is me. I want to make sure that they know you and that I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So, could you just introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi guys, my name's Halita. Some of you may have seen me floating around on Facebook. I don't know yet, but I'm hearing impaired, and so I'm an entrepreneur trying to get my business off the ground. And I struggle with anxiety, so I wanted to reach out to Caitlin and see if she had any tips for me.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Halita, thank you for being so honest about that. And I think it's whenever I go live, I rarely have people comment on my lives, and I always have people send me private messages because there's so much shame and judgment around mental health. And even though we're, there's so many factors that are affecting our mental health that are outside of our immediate control. So I just want to say thank you for having the courage to show up here and to be honest about your experience. And I promise to make it very worth it for you. But for everybody who's watching and joins us, please comment, say hello, cheer her on as well. At whether or not you're joining us live or watching the replay, it's a really meaningful thing to do. So, Halita, so let's start talking anxiety. So you were giving me a little bit of context today. So tell me and you started asking some questions around how can, when I'm feeling like super, super anxious, how can I kind of slow things down and get into my breath? Um, Elaborate on that question a little bit more. So talk to me about scenarios or situations where you feel like you kind of get stuck in anxiety, or you don't know, or you're unable to come into your breath. Tell me a little bit more about the kind of circumstances.
Well, I think most of my anxiety is I grew up in a kind of a interesting emotional family, so but other than that, I have a lot of perfectionist issues. I tend to overjudge myself and think I have to be perfect at everything, and so I think that causes my anxiety to spike.
Mm,
And so it's something I'm trying to work on. I'm trying to learn it's okay, just breathe, you're gonna be okay, kind of thing. And sometimes it comes out of nowhere and it's like, well, what was I so anxious about? Like I didn't see anything happening that made me feel kind of off kilter, so to speak. So yeah.
yeah. So I think let's dive into that. We have, of course, there's a million directions we could go with what you just said, because perfectionism is absolutely a very powerful driver of anxiety in our culture, where people are not always as brave as you to show up like this. It's easy to fall into comparison and to feel like other people are doing better, and other people are happier or whatever. Um, and to feel like we're just not measuring up to that more perfect standard that everybody else seems to be hitting. So that's definitely one way we could go. But let's talk a little bit more about like why you get anxious in the first place, right? So one we said is like perfectionism. Those are all supposed to be, or standards that are unachievable in a moment. That's real. But the other thing that you said, which I get a lot, and I want to talk about this today, is that sometimes you don't even know why you're anxious. Like all of a sudden you just feel really anxious and you don't have a good reason for it, right? Like if nobody's there causing it, or you're not really thinking actively negative thoughts, um, but suddenly anxiety comes up, right? And so the question is, how do you handle that kind of anxiety? Is it reminding yourself you're safe? Is it just coming into your body? Like, what is it? So tell me a little bit about what you tend to do in those situations and where you really tend to get like stuck or unable to kind of move through those situations with grace. And then I'll
Um,
work through that.
oh, go ahead. Sorry. I guess my biggest thing is I try to remember to breathe. That's the biggest thing. At least that's what everyone tells me. It doesn't always happen. Like when I'm going through it, and I feel like I'm a little bit more rare than most people because I can't find that one thing to focus on. So most of the time when I'm going through a panic attack or anxiety, it's better for me to slowly talk to someone about it, like my sister or a close friend. But most of the time, I just feel kind of silly and stupid, even crying or freaking out about it. And I don't know. I guess my biggest thing is I just need help remembering you're okay. What's good about this moment right now? The sky's not falling down, Chicken Little. Like a lot of people like to say, I'm kind of like Chicken Little, where I just kind of spin out of not so much out of control. It's more I just get scared and nervous.
Yeah. Sure.
So
Well, so I want to start by saying a few things. Number one is like in these situations where we become anxious just because, like, we don't know why, right? It's not like somebody or triggering us or we have to go give a talk. Um, Very frequently, that's not, that's not actually because of nothing. So if you think about it, the body is perceiving at every single second about 60,000 different pieces of information. And the way that the body and the brain are programmed is that if any of those individual like things, so it could be a smell, it could be a color, it could be a person, like an energy, it could be all of these different kinds. If any of those things in the past for you have caused negative experience, meaning discomfort, anxiety, sadness, trauma, anything like that, your brain is going to try to hijack you to get away from whatever that situation is or whatever that thing is. And therefore, it's making you feel anxious, right? So it starts sending like sudden panic. It makes it hard to feel like you can breathe, all this kind of stuff, because it's basically perceiving things. Now, your conscious mind is only perceiving about 5%, and that's on our best days. So, there's so many things that could be happening energetically, and anxious people tend to be very sensitive to kind of energy in the environment. So I don't know if that resonates with you, but so it's important not to try to figure out why you're feeling anxious, because let's be honest, you have to sift through often 60,000 different pieces of information just to be able to figure out like what's happening here, what is like triggering me, like what is this, right? So I love what you said, that like you try to just start to get into the breath. And that's what's really important, right? Is like not to say, hey, what's going on? What do I need to remind myself I'm safe of? I would stay out of your head completely, because this is not something we can logically figure out. This is something that has to feel a sense of safety, right? So I love that you start with that and that you say like, okay, I go to breath. Now, what stops you from being able to just gently, easily move into slow, flowy, nice breath when you're feeling anxious or panic? Like what stops that?
I think it's my brain all of a sudden starts going, well, there's something here that's kind of freaking you out. And so I tend to dwell or focus on that rather than try to change my mindset. And like once I get through it, I'm fine. And then I've learned once I've gotten through it, but in the moment, I have a very hard time getting unstuck on the thing I'm focused on.
Yeah,
So.
for sure. So here's what I want to suggest to you. So first of all, it's just kind of reapproving a lot of what your intuition has already been driving to. So like I said, number one, there's 60 different things that it could potentially, 60,000 different things it could potentially second. So you don't try to figure it out, right? And the fastest way, there's a few ways that you can start to get out of your head and get into your body, because your body can get into a safe energy really quickly. So number one is breath, like you said. But a lot of people can't start, literally physically feel so constrained that they can't
Hmm.
flow in that moment. So a really nice thing to do is to turn upside down. So when you
Oh.
turn upside down, like literally it's kind of like, and so you first, like, you can you grab yourself like this, like really hold yourself, and then you literally just hang upside down. So what happens there is so many things shift in your perspective so quickly that it gives you about a 3 second opening to be able to change like your perception, your energy, and get back into your body. So just turning upside down can be really, really powerful. And then just start the breathing from there. And once again, once you've calmed down your body, then of course you can start to work with your mind. Like, hey, there's nothing to be scared of. I'm safe. It's all good. Like, whatever it is, I'm powerful. I'm strong. I'm amazing. Like, I've gotten through so much worse than whatever's here today, right? You can always get into your head a little later, but in the beginning, it's really important to stay in your body. And one of the fastest ways to do that is to turn upside down because it shifts your perspective and it sends a lot of oxygen to your brain, which is also makes your brain perceive more safety. So that's a really powerful way to do it. Another really powerful way to get into your body, right? If you can't immediately plug into the breath, is to have something cold. So like if you have an ice cube or anything very very cold, and you could just run it over your wrist for literally 5 seconds. That too will shock your system so much that you'll have an opening there to get into your brain, right? And that's what we're here for. We're here to kind of like shock the system from this like contracted state into this like what's happening. And so, and okay, I can shift in, I can invite in something else. So turning upside down is really powerful. Putting something cold on you is really powerful. Um, and then the other thing that can be really helpful is if you have, do you have a favorite song? Like a song that just makes you feel like, oh, yum, happiness, deliciousness. I am like good, love, safe. What's that song for you?
I would have to say the fight song from Rachel Platten, and
I love
it's pretty much my go-to song. My sister found it about a year ago, and she was like, "This really reminds me of you. You should listen to it." And ever since then, I'm kind of taken to it. So,
Well, that's amazing. And I love that song too. This is my fight song. So, so what you can do again, if you can't get into the breath, right? If you feel like, okay, I know once I start slow breathing, I'll calm down, but I'm not able to cross that frontier into my body. I'm just stuck in like racing thoughts. Just blast that song, your fight song, the fight song, as loud as possible. Because here's what happens, right? Your brain has associations with the fight song, which is joy, happiness, strength, love, courage, peace, whatever it is. And so when that song starts to come on, once again, it's going to produce some happy chemicals in you and enough, and it's going to create enough of a bodily change just so that you're empowered enough in that moment to then actively and conscientiously bring your energy into your body and start to breathe and start to just like slow it down. But it's funny because there's all this huge, there's so many worlds we study around psychology and therapy and things like that and how to work with anxiety. But a lot of times the best way to do it is just to take literally all that powerful energy inside of you and and put it into joy, put it into this energy that this song gives you. So sing the song, allow the song to be, really use that energy as you're singing that song. And then once the song goes on, you just start to breathe. Now tell me how you breathe. Tell me how do you get into your breath and calm yourself down? Like how do you do that? What's your practice?
I guess the biggest thing is I try to take a deep breath, and if I can't right away, I just slowly increase the air as I start to calm down a little bit. Sometimes it'll just be like a rushed breathing, but then I just kind of, it's okay,
Yeah. So
kind
what I
of just like exhale, inhale slowly. So,
For sure. And so that's the other thing that I wanted to like. I love it's that you have the slow inhale and slow exhale, and that's very important. A few other suggestions around um, your how to breathe. So first, in order to get your body to start like just be able to breathe slow, you do something to change the energy or bring in a little bit of like silliness or joy. So something cold, your favorite song, go upside down, like just shift it so that you get some power back. And then what you want to do is, in addition to breathing slow, you want to breathe. What you want to do is you want to put your hands on your body. And so you want to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. And when you put your hands on your heart, you want to literally just like feel like it's like this, just like a gentle embrace, like a lover's embrace, just like, yummy. I love that so much. Like that kind of a thing, you know? Really like have your hand on your heart and then your other hand on your belly. And one way to keep your awareness in your breath, because anxiety, again, is so much about like getting hijacked and like overthinking. So to keep your awareness on your breath, you really keep your awareness on your hand on your belly. So you feel this hand here, you feel this hand here on your belly, and then you breathe out in for 4 seconds. You feel your belly expand, and you're counting 2, 3, 4, and then you're holding it, and then you're exhaling. And when you add that counting, first of all, that's one more piece of mindfulness that is in your body. And second of all, is that having the physical touch here, it also relates safety to yourself. And so there's actually been studies done that when we cover our own hearts in a really loving way, it actually releases oxytocin, the same chemical of like when our moms used to cuddle with us and hold us, or when we were kids, or hopefully they did, you know? And so you can actually get that chemical softening, easy, relaxed within yourself. So one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, count the breath as you breathe in and out, and really just allow that breath to be like, you know, and just say, okay, I'm coming back to the numbers. I'm coming back to the numbers. You don't even have to say, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm safe, I'm calm, I'm calm, I'm calm, I'm calm. Because sometimes that creates a war with your brain, right? So your brain is saying, you're not safe, you're not safe, you're not safe, you're not safe. And you trying to say, no, I am, no, I am, no, I am, no, I am. A lot of times that actually creates more fire, more anxiety, because it's like a war between your mind and your body. So the goal is not to have thoughts going at each other. The goal is to just simply drop into your body and communicate through breath and through movement. So anything you can do to be really slow in your breathing, and that helps by touching your physical body and breathing in and then breathing out, holding your heart, those are the kinds of things that will actually keep you in your body. And then eventually, within a few minutes, you'll feel relaxation. And it never has to come from your head, because you know and I know that 90% of the time when you feel anxious, it's not about a logical thing, right? It's actually an intellectual thing happening. It's actually just a bodily response to one of 60,000 different pieces of information in the universe at the time. And we just got to teach our body, hey, like, girl, hey, baby, you're beautiful, whatever feels good to you. I'm calm. I can feel my own presence on my heart. I can feel my hands on my belly. I can feel myself breathing in and breathing out. And that is what will allow your body to then tell your brain, we're safe. You don't have to be forcing thoughts. You just stay in the body experience. And music and cold water and all that kind of stuff will really, really support that process. But ultimately, self-touch is the biggest tool that will really help you stay there in your body.
Well, thank you for those tips. It's something I'll definitely have to try when I'm experiencing the anxiety. I never thought of that.
Yeah, well, I have to say it's not your fault, because I went to therapy school I went to Columbia University, which is the #1 school like for this program in the world. And I was like, thought I knew everything when I graduated, and literally nobody ever talked to me the whole time I was there about like putting your hands on your body or any body. It was a very neck up experience. And so the best therapists in the world and some of the best training in the world still have not learned about the power of the body to actually reshape, calm down, and soothe the mind. And so natural that you didn't think of it, but now it's as you start to do it, I'm really excited for you to share your experience with me, because it's one of those magical things that you realize, wow, I don't have to figure it all out. It's not that I'm going to have to psych myself out or try to talk to myself a certain way or be able to access certain understandings, or no. In fact, like my body's got it. All I got to do is show up to it. All
Mhm.
show up to it. Move, groove, dance, touch, all things, and then and then your body will soothe your mind. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I know when I was younger, I used to sit there and I'd grab a blanket and my teddy bear or something, and that's how I would relax. But yeah,
Yeah.
so.
Well, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's the other important thing for everyone watching to know, is that the opposite of anxiety, everyone thinks the opposite of anxiety is peace and calm. It's not. The opposite of anxiety is love. The opposite of anxiety is connection. Like, think about it. When you feel super connected to the people in a room that you're there with, or if you feel super connected to your body, or if you feel super, super connected to your purpose in a moment, you don't feel anxiety, you know? And so it's actually just about love and connection. So when you, like that brilliant child that you were, who hadn't even developed intellect yet, right? So and thank goodness. So the body knew, go get that teddy bear, go get that blanket. They activate love in you. And when you have literally, this is biochemically true. When you have the chemicals of love working in your body, then they physically cannot coexist with those chemicals of fear and anxiety. And so, yeah, like I tell people all the time, right? Like the journey of our lives is to go back to how small we were when we were kids. and,
Mhm.
and so trust that. Trust your body, trust your teddy bear, trust your favorite song, trust your blanket. I do, and I'll do it until I'm dead. It's not a juvenile at all. It's actually that when we were younger, we hadn't been in a school system so long that where we were only evaluated on our brains. We had still, a lot of the intelligence in our body, and we just have to get the strength of practicing that again.
Yeah, it sounds pretty great. I appreciate you even talking to me today.
Yeah, well, it was my pleasure, and thank you again. I really appreciate you. First of all, dealing with the technology issues, and second, having the courage to show up here live and talk about this. So much gratitude and appreciation. Again, if you're in the comments, say congratulate Miss Halita. She was amazing, and let us know if this is helpful to you. And Halita, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you so much for your time, and let me know how that goes as you begin
All
to
right.
body.
Okay, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.